Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic, us non-classic. This is episode number 2930 and Doubleshot number 2824. I got two DC trades for you. First that we have is Green Arrow by Joshua Williamson, Volume 2, Family First, which contains Green Arrow, Volume... I think this is 8. Oh, 7. Volume 7, issues 7 through 12. So, this book, of course, like I said, written by Josh Williamson, artwork by Phil Holster, Carmine Del Camagio, Tom DeRink, Trevor Hairstain, Eric Gopser, and Sean Iske. Now, other people working this book, only the writer is the one I've met. Yeah, he's the only I've met. I've never met the artist, so... We start basically like a recap of basically Green Arrow over the years, taking on his various villains. And he goes to Justice League headquarters to see what's up. It's like, because he's back, driving his Arrow car. Yes, Arrow car. He's like, why is it so quiet here? And he asks, where's Justice League? So yeah, he finds out they just like disbanded it, and apparently it was Diana who ordered it to be disbanded. So he's like, I mentioned about the thing between him and Catwoman. Why did this disband? Something new in the course. Basically, he's referencing the events of the ending of Dark Crisis here. It's like you have Reno catching up with everybody, and apparently that Blackout forget where he is, who he is. So. It's really no one has time for Oliver. He basically reunites with Barry Allen. Yep. Actually, no, it's Hal Jordan. Yeah, it's Hal Jordan. Of course, they have a little team up because they have Green Arrow, Green Lantern team up. And this is the old school Green Lantern, Green Arrow team up. And of course, then I mentioned the whole thing with Waller. And then the book ends with the return of Onomatopoeia. After all, he is a Green Arrow villain who, for some reason, some people at DC think he's a Batman villain because Kevin Smith wrote in the books. Well, it looked like at one point he did die again. So the whole issue focused on Connor Hawke, where you have Onomatopoeia meeting up with Red Brick, another old school Green Arrow villain. Actually, it's from Volume 3 of the book. I believe he was a creation of Judd Winnick, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So, and of course, basically, like, Oller's back in town. Then, of course, basically, like, he has to go after Roy because apparently he's working with Waller. Then they bring up the events of, like, I think it's like Beast World. It's almost like basically you read this book as like, man, Williamson is having Green Arrow catch up a lot of stuff here. Like, first it's basically Dark Crisis. Now it's Beast World. You have Waller here with Director Bones. Always great to see him. Yeah. You have Ollie off in space. Then we have Connor and Corner Maltese. He's like, hello. We don't know each other. My father speaks so highly. Oliver Queen needs you. And it turns out the guy he's here to see is John Diggle. Yes. First time anybody's seen this guy since Ben Pearce left the book. And I'm like, why the heck they write this guy in the book for? He's a great character. And he's like, he comes interested, he gets attention. What about taking down Malcolm Merlin once and for all? That gets attention. And of course, you have probably a robot. And of course, you have basically him. Waller has him reluctantly working for him. And he has to go to, like, your first assignment, be an agent of mine. You have to go retrieve Sanctuary. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, when they read this, are like, really? Why are we going back to this for? Like, those of you who forgot about Sanctuary, that was from the event Heroes in Crisis. An event that a lot of people didn't like. Tom King, from what I've heard, has regretted the storyline. Like, basically his pitch was completely... It's like part of the story. A lot of the story was editorially driven. So, he has... From what I could tell, based on what I read he said about the book, he's kind of disowned the book. He wants nothing to do with Heroes in Crisis at all. Because it was not entirely his idea. Not really. So then you have him... So... Then they go like a little adventure with Roy. Of course, mentioned Heroes in Crisis. Mm-hmm. Plus, we have like a brief flashback of him, his first Arsenal costume. It was always great to see. That's interesting, the fact that the artists do that, because I was not expecting that at all. Yes, of course, they did throw in the Red Hood and the Outlaw by Scott of the first volume. Yep. And they go to this bunker, which apparently... Then we have Arrowlet, Red Arrow, and Red Canary here. Now, who are these three? Well, Arrowlet is the daughter of an old character called Miss Arrowlet from the 70s. Red Arrow, I believe that is actually Green Arrow. It's Green Arrow's sister. And Red Canary is a new character that debuted in this book who tries to... And then we have Mia Dearden in a Speedy costume. Now, that is interesting, because this will mark the first anybody's seen her since Andrew Kreisberg wrote the book back in... Okay, so Andrew Kreisberg had a very brief run for Green Arrow. It happened just after Jeff Lemire left the book. Lemire did it for the book, in case you know, issue-wise. He came out with issue 16. He left with issue number 30... I think it was like 32, I think it was. Yes, it was a very popular run for Green Arrow. Not very long. It felt like Green Arrow. I think, I remember quickly, I think this run, it went from late 2013 to like 2014. So at the time these just came out, Mia Dearden had not been seeing a comic book for almost 10 years. Yeah, and now she's back in her old Speedy costume. It was a slightly updated one. But yeah, she's Speedy again. And of course, they mentioned the whole thing with the Teen Titans. Because apparently everything was made canon. So, in a way, they basically made her pre-Flashpoint history all canon with this continuity. So they break into the Justice League, this facility, the Steel Sanctuary. Yeah. And then we have the Justice League themselves show up at the end of issue 10. But they're all holograms. Yep, they're all holograms. After with them, and of course, the place exploding. There's background story of who was Merlin, which you have the backstory about Malcolm Merlin and his history with Green Arrow, which they even threw in the out from the 70s in here, the one before his redesign by Neil Adams. It's almost like the best way to describe this backup story. It's kind of like Joshua Williamson made all Malcolm Merlin's history all canon. And then they steal the mask. And like, it turned the family against them. Of course, then we have like various versions of these costumes. We have Roy in his new 52 attire. This outfit, I believe, was from the early... I think it was late 80s, I think it was. We have Black Canary in a traditional garb. This outfit here for Black Canary, that's a Rebirth attire. The one here in the back, that's New 52. This one here is the mid-80s look, which I was curious. We have Connor Hawk in his pre-Flashpoint attire. The rest of the family. Emiko in her first attire. And you have Connor at one of his old attires, too. Yep. And of course, end up fighting them, and then of course, basically, like... Then pretty much the final issue, after fighting them, all of them, Arrow fight, and then eventually, like... And of course, Black Canary is there. And so is John Diggle. Which, yeah. Obvious nod to the Predator with that one. Then the whole Team Arrow goes to the island. Of course, you have Leanne reunited with Roy. And now, of course, you have Party on an Island. Yep, and you have Black Canary there with Green Arrow. Waller, and that's it. Absolute really fun book. And, yeah, absolutely so fun. It's nice to see Mia Dearden again. It's like, the writer just completely forgot this character existed, and now we bring her back. Yep. Alright, I give the book a 10 out of 10. Next we have is Elseworlds, Justice League, Volume 1. This book contains Elseworlds' Finest 1 through 2, Elseworlds' Finest, Supergirl and Batgirl, Justice Writers, League of Justice number 1 through 2, Titans, Scissors, Paper, Stone, and Wonder Woman Amazonia. Now, the cover here, that's from Justice Writers. That was a story done by Chuck Dixon, which, of course, J.H. Williamson III on the artwork. Now, it's basically like a Western take on the Justice League, which I love this concept. And get this, he actually pitched a sequel to this. He wanted to do a follow-up because he actually enjoyed doing this one. It probably did really well. But DC at the time was not interested. Yeah, Chuck Dixon has mentioned on his At Chuck Dixon's podcast, he had many pitches of many different books he wanted to do, but DC kept telling him no. Like, one Western book he wanted to do, like, this editor was dragging his feet. He apparently just didn't want to do it. But that's kind of what Justice Raiders is. Now, in the case of the other books here, Titans, Scissors, Paper, and Stone, that's a future version of the Titans in the future, just a future take on them. That's kind of what the book is. It's a one-shot. Now, that's done by Adam Warren, who does the writing here, with also the inking too. Now, Elseworlds Finance, that's written by John Francis Moore, art by Karen Doyer. The League of Justice, that is done by Ed Hannigan, who does the writing and artwork, and Dick Giordano on the inking. Wonder Woman Amazonia, A Tale of Wonder Woman, that is written by William Messner-Loebs and Phil Winside on the artwork. So basically, the world's finest is basically like, well, it's kind of like a real. The best way to describe this, it's kind of like, well, what if basically they existed in real life, kind of. Yeah. And it's kind of like a noir take on Batman and Superman. That's basically what the story is, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed this story. I think the story is really, really good. And what happened after the story? Well, next after this, I'm going to put in the book The Justice Raiders, which is a fantastic book. I do recommend checking out because it's Chuck Dixon. I mean, why would you not check out a book by Chuck Dixon? His book is amazing. Here's some of the artwork here. League of Justice. This is basically, what if basically the Justice League of America was formed during medieval times? And kind of in a way, Tom Taylor would do a loose remake of this with Dark Knights of Steel. But you also gotta love the art style. It's kind of like early Dark Ages, this one. But medieval times. Yeah, but it's absolutely fun story here. And then the whole thing with the Wonder Woman Tale of Amazonia. This is basically like Wonder Woman in, like, if she was like a... Plus, I do love the artwork. The artwork is really, really good. Nothing terrible about this artwork, per se. It's almost like, basically, like, what if basically she was like a performer. That's basically what this Wonder Woman is. And it's kind of like set in Victorian-era England. It's kind of like a Wonder Woman set in Victorian England. Which, really good. Fantastic stories here. Oh, and the final story in here, the Batman Superman one. Yeah, this is basically like, okay, so one of the premises of this book is, what if Joe Chill didn't kill the Waynes, but he killed Commissioner Gordon and his wife instead? So you have Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, and apparently Lex murdered Superman at some point in this continuity. But it's a really good story. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the creative team in this book. The plotters this one are Barbara Ketzel, who does the writing here, Tom Mahaney and Matt Simmons. The artwork's by Mahaney. Yep. But excellent book. Give this book a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notification, do hit the dislike button. Well, I do have some more episodes of 4 Ounce Apocalypse to do, roughly 6 more left to go, plus 1 comic corner left. Okay, next video.